Hello, wrestling fans. My name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka Wakanda Snatch One, because I got plenty going on. As you can tell by the title of the thumbnail in the video, this is my AEW Dynamite review on highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning or towards the end for watch time hours. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights, and also go check out my WWE Raw review on highlights that also there on the channel as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite was a decent show, and that's all I gotta say. It says we opened the show with Bryan Danielson being welcomed to the announce desk before Hangman Adam Page makes his way out to kick off the in-ring action. Out next is Josh Alexander, accompanied by Don Callis and his amazing family, before heading down to the ring to get this match underway. We get a grudge match non-title. AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page versus Josh Alexander. This was a good match in my opinion. The two men charged at each other with strikes, with Page sending Alexander to the corner before the ref has to intervene. Hangman backs off, and this gives Josh an opening, but not for very long, as the champ managed to send him back to the corner for a chop. He stays on the attack by dragging Alexander along the ropes as the crowd lets Don Callis know what they think of him. Josh Alexander is sent to the ropes, but turns things around with an ankle lock before Page breaks free, forcing Alexander to the outside, which gives Josh Alexander another opening as he sends the champ to the barricade. After some struggling, Josh Alexander hosts the Hangman up for a brainbuster right onto the apron before sliding into the ring. He hits the ropes, but gets caught in the ropes when Hangman dodges, and he brings Alexander to the outside looking for an advantage. Josh Alexander breaks away, but gets sent into the crowd by the champ. Page brings Alexander back into the ring, but is caught in a corner as Josh Alexander goes after the eyes. Hangman Page fights back with some chops before being sent to the ropes by Alexander, who attacks the champ's face before the ref intervenes. Josh stays on the attack until Page manages to send him out of the ring, setting up for a moonsault before Josh rolls back in the ring to evade danger. Josh Alexander leaves the ring and gets a breather by the announcer table as Page pursues him while we go to a commercial break. Alright, so we go to commercial break. Both men are back in the ring when we return, trading chops until Alexander takes control. He hits a running forearm on the champ in the corner, but Hangman fights back with an arm wringer before pulling Josh to the mat to a pop from the crowd. He brings Alexander back up from a Death Valley driver, but the low key nod to Tommy Dreamer only gets a near fall. Josh Alexander gets into it with Page near the ropes, evading a buckshot Larry to grab the champ for a German suplex. Not once but twice. It's clear that Alexander hips don't lie, as he lands a third one on the outside while keeping the wrist lock cinched tight. He sets up for a German suplex on the floor, but Page managed to land on his feet instead before slamming Alexander against the guardrail. The referee begins a count with both men narrowly making it back in the ring before the count of 10. They fight to their feet until Josh drops Page hitting the ropes, and they run into a pop-up Tiger Bomb, but the champ for a 2 count. Josh heads to the corner for a breather, only for Page to prop him up on the top. They fight it out in the dangerous territory until Alexander gets the champ on his shoulders before dropping Hangman to the mat with what I can best describe as a modified Green Bay plung. Close near fall follows before Alexander goes for a drop toe hold until Page gets to the ropes for a break. The fight heads to the apron where Page evades a C4 spike dropping Alexander to the floor before bringing him back in as he climbs up top. Don Callis distracts the referee while Lance Archer and Romero try to intervene, only to be fought off by the Hangman, who catches Alexander with a buckshot lariat for the win. The winner of the match, Hangman Adam Page. This was a good match. Page celebrates as the Don Callis family regroups on the rim and retreats to the back. Hangman grabs a microphone, addressing everything he's done with has everything done he's done with. I'm sorry. Page celebrates as the Don Callis family regroups on the ramp and retreats to the back. Hangman grabs a microphone, addressing everything he done to win and retain the championship. The most important word in all elite wrestling is wrestling, and that is what Page is here to do because he is the all elite wrestling's man world champion. Don Callis returns to ringside alongside Kyle Fletcher, who says Page's words are sentimental, but will not matter because the Don Callis family and the pure protostar run AEW. There is a more pressing matter as Kyle Fletcher threw out a challenge to Page on Collision and awaits a response. Page says he's lucky he wasn't life flagging out of this venue after what he did, but he understands it. If Kyle Fletcher really wants to make a point and speak to the world champion, then he can get in this ring and speak to him directly. Kyle Fletcher makes his way to the ring, standing face to face with the world champion, who leans into the chant about Kyle Fletcher's socks before giving him some props for the type of competitor he is. One thing he sees above all else, thought is himself. 6 years ago, standing across from Chris Jericho, dreaming of being a champion. Kyle Fletcher is full of potential, but he is not afraid to tell Kyle Fletcher something that's hard to hear. When he tells Kyle Fletcher that he's not ready, Kyle Fletcher scoffs at this, telling Page the crowd that he has heard this before, but he is already a champion and will be for as long as he please. And he's ready to carry the weight of this company as a world champion right now. To this, Page says if Kyle Fletcher really wants this shot, he is willing to grant it at All Out. But there's something that he and everyone here needs from him. The crowd responds to this with a sock chant, but Page explains that he needs Kyle Fletcher needs him to do this on his own. He needs Kyle Fletcher to leave the Don Callis family behind at All Out. Keep Don Callis in the back and to get some socks. This gets a pop from the crowd as Kyle Fletcher addresses the main point about Page thinking Kyle Fletcher needs anyone to help him. When they face off at All Out, he will defeat Page all on his own and makes him say his full name, the protostar Kyle Fletcher, and the new AEW Men's World Champion. With that, the TNT Champion music hits as Kyle Fletcher leaves the ring with Don Callis. This was a good segment. I love this segment. We get a look at Collision and Mark Briscoe's failure to beat Kanushka Takeshita, along with MJF calling out Mark Briscoe. From there, we get a look at what went down after Collision, with MJF addressing the fact he cut his honeymoon short because of how much he hates Mark Briscoe. He claims that his new bride threatened to call it all off. He left the house, saying that he was married to the game and to hate long before he met his wife. All right, let's move on. So he left the house and made his way to Collision to settle a score. And with a chance to deal with Mark Briscoe, he is willing to say the same thing he did on his wedding night. I do, by God, I do. With that, we cut to commercial. So we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, the Young Bucks try to enjoy the food they in catering while addressing the 500K 10-man tag later tonight. They can't get a seat with the Dark Order before finding a spot next to old pal Brandon Cutler, who tells them to shut up before leaving. John Moxley shows up, clearing the rest of the table to talk turkey with the Young Bucks and offering the Death Riders share of the prize money to make sure the Young Bucks show up to win. We head back to ringside as Emi Sakura is seen carrying some of the belts of Mercedes Moné as the pair make their way down for our next match. Alex Windsor and Rio are out next, heading to the ring as we get the match underway. So we get a tag team match. The TBS champion Mercedes Moné and Emi Sakura versus Alex Windsor and Rio. And this tag team match right here, this was a pretty good tag team match in my opinion. Mercedes Moné and Rio start things off, but the champ immediately tags in Sakura, who goes after the women's she trained. Emi lands some hard shots until the inaugural Women's World Champion strikes back, sending Sakura to the ropes for a Tiger fan kick. Tag made to Alex Windsor, who hits a leg sweep on Emi for a 2 count. She stays on the attack as Rio comes in for a head scissors on and approaching Mercedes Moné before attacking both their opponents in the corners. She gets a single leg crab on Emi, but Mercedes Moné slides into the ring to pull her towards the ropes, only for Alex Windsor to get the drop on both women. Rio follows with a dive of her own as we go to commercial break. So yeah, we go to a full AD commercial break on HBO Max. Back in the ring, Mercedes Moné is the legal woman for her team, going after Rio. She sends Rio to the corner for a running kick and a 2 count. Mercedes Moné stays on the attack until the latter knocks Emi off the apron, dodging the TBS champion to make a tag to Alex Windsor. She goes after Mercedes Moné with a fury of offense, sending her to the mat before Mercedes Moné evades a sharpshooter. Alex Windsor gets Mercedes Moné to the ropes, setting her up for a double foot stomp of shorts by Rio off a tag. She pulled Mercedes Moné to the center of the ring for a cover, only getting a near fall due to the pause. Mercedes Moné makes a tag to Sakura before a double team that gets the cover, but Alex Windsor breaks it up. She sends Mercedes Moné out of the ring as Rio sweeps Emi out from under her feet for a 2 count. She then sets up for a single leg crab as Alex Windsor keeps Mercedes Moné from breaking the hold, and Emi has no choice but to tap out. The winner by submission, Alex Windsor and Rio. This was a pretty good match too. This was a pretty good match too. Backstage, Ricochet and the GOA addresses the Hurt Syndicate, with Ricochet offering a gentleman's agreement for a pair to keep their friends backstage so they can handle things one-on-one. When all is said and done, they have momentum going into All Out, and they have no choice but to respect Ricochet and the GOA, and that is a demand. So we go to commercial break. Video package. They look at the numbers behind the reunited tag team of Christian Cage and Adam Copeland ahead of their match against FTR at AEW All Out. Back at ringside, Big Stoke takes some brag with the video package as he talks about FTR winning at All Out. He addresses the comments people have been making towards him before Dax Harwood cuts in, essentially challenging anyone in the crowd to a fight, or at least daring anyone to get into it. Clear shades of the Dudleys trying to stir up trouble in the crowd, turning their attentions to one man in particular until they get into it with the camera operators nearby. Officials come rushing down to break it up as they pull FTR away. Before we head backstage once more, the gentleman agrees is brought up with MVP starting to address Ricochet's agreement before Shelton Benjamin cuts in to say if we can trust Ricochet to leave his boys in the back, Shelton Benjamin will leave his boys in the back too. The three dab it up before Shelton Benjamin walks off. Back at ringside, Ricochet makes his way out for the next match, along per the gentleman's agreement. Shelton Benjamin makes his way out next to a nice pop from the crowd as we get this match underway. So we get Shelton Benjamin versus Ricochet, and I gotta say this was a decent match for what it was. Ricochet on the offense early, landing a fury on Shelton Benjamin before taking him down to the mat. He leads to the ring to pose and say hi to Taz before going for a 450 splash back in the ring, but only gets a near fall as Shelton Benjamin powers out. He sends Ricochet out of the ring before attacking him against the barricade, culminating in a back suplex of shorts that sends Ricochet onto the guardrail. And the action comes back to the ring as Ricochet tries to fight back, only to take a high cross throw by Shelton Benjamin for his troubles. Ricochet goes for the ropes as Shelton Benjamin pulls at him, eventually shoving him out of the ring before following close behind, only to be sent face first into the announcer table by Ricochet. He lands a strike on Shelton Benjamin, sending him into the guardrail as we go to a commercial break on HBO Max. Back in the ring, Ricochet hits a hard kick on Shelton Benjamin for a 2 count. Shelton Benjamin heads to the corner before Ricochet brings him to his feet. The crowd is shifted to "We Ball People" chants as the two men continue to go at it, with Shelton Benjamin landing a belly-to-belly suplex, a side suplex, and a German suplex on Ricochet. Crowd chants one more time, and Shelton Benjamin obliged with one more German suplex, throwing Ricochet across the ring. He hits a running knee strike to follow up on that, but it's only good for a 2 count before Ricochet kicks out. Shelton Benjamin goes for another suplex, but Ricochet breaks free for a backflip foot stomp, and this all comes to a halt with Thirst Kick sending both men to the mat. The referee begins the count as they get to their feet, with Ricochet fighting out of the corner until Shelton Benjamin hits the roundhouse kick. Shelton Benjamin goes up top but gets intercepted by Ricochet, who hits a Spanish Fly, sending Shelton Benjamin to the mat for a close near fall. We see a pair of scissors revealed as Ricochet takes another walloping with a clothesline by Shelton Benjamin. But the chaos surrounding as this allows the GOA to come out for a distraction, leading to Ricochet rolling up Shelton Benjamin for the win. The winner by pinfall, Ricochet. This was a decent match for what it was. With the gentlemen agree or falling apart, the Hurt Syndicate run out to deal with GOA officials come out to break things up as we cut away. You should let the Hurt Syndicate and GOA fight. Why do security guards come out every week just to break up a fight? Let the Hurt Syndicate and GOA brawl. That's all I gotta say. You gotta give the fans what they want, what they came to see. And that's all I gotta say. And I'm just speaking facts. Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you guys agree with me what I just said? Alright, let me continue. We cut to adventures with Hook addressing Samoa Joe and the Ops. He respects that they will always have his back, but maybe it's time for Hook to stand on his own, or maybe not. So we go to commercial break. Backstage, we hear from Don Callis as he addresses Kyle Fletcher, handling the match at All Out on his own, admitting that Kyle Fletcher doesn't need anyone's help, and he trusts that someone like Kyle Fletcher will bring the title home to the Don Callis family. Kyle Fletcher chimes in to confirm his intention to bring the title to the family, and the commentary hypes that match up for All Out. Alright, back at ringside, Justin Roberts runs down the rules of this Philly street fight before Tony Storm comes out in the presumed role of the Sandman with weapons at the ready to head to the ring. Sky Blue is out next, and the two women go at it using a candlestick as the bell rings to get this Philly street fight underway. So we get a Philly street fight non-title AEW Women's World Champion Tony Storm versus Sky Blue. And this match right here, this match was fine for what it was. All right, Tony Storm. Tony Storm. Wait, I got it now. Sandstorm goes to town on Sky Blue with a candlestick for a near fall. Sky Blue leaves the ring as Tony Storm goes for a hip attack through the ropes, only for Sky Blue to land a shot to the backside with a pin. She gets back in the ring and uses a Staples gun on Tony Storm's chest, but only gets a near fall of her own before Sandstorm uses the staple gun on Sky Blue to send her out of the ring. The champ posed on the apron with a candlestick as we go to a commercial break on HBO Max. So we go to full commercial break on HBO Max. We come back from the break as the two women go at it on the barricade, dropping down on it before trading strikes back and forth. Sky Blue grabs what appears to be a fan sign, nearly cracking it over the head of Tony Storm to drop her to the floor as we discover that it's covered with a street sign. Instead, Sky Blue backs away and Tony Storm uncovers a table at ringside to reveal a whole set of mousetraps. The champ munches on a slice of cheese before handing it over to the announcer team and catches Sky Blue to put her hand on the mousetraps. Sky Blue gets a reel up enough to strike back, sending Tony Storm onto the table in the traps. The table doesn't break, but Sky Blue pays little mind as she brings the champ back in the ring. Tony Storm is in the corner and fights back, grabbing a chair. Sky Blue props up against her for a DDT and a 2 count. Tony Storm grabs another weapon. This electrify swatter as she zaps Sky Blue with it before sending her to the corner. She grabs a trash can to set on the canvas, and this gives Sky Blue an opening to break away for a powerbomb, sending the champ onto the trash can, but it only gets her a 2 count when Tony Storm kicks out. Tony Storm dodges a cold blue attempt to land a chair shot on Sky Blue's head. She grabs the sign she pulled from ringside, propping it up against the face of Sky Blue for a hip attack before dropping Sky Blue with a Storm Zero for the win. The winner of the match, Timeless Tony Storm, aka Tony Dreamer, aka the Sandstorm. This was a decent. Did I say decent match? This was a decent match for what it was. All right. Her post match, Celebrate cuts off by the Triangle of Madness rushing to the ring, only for Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter to come out to even the numbers. This falls apart when Jamie Hayter lays out Chris Statlander by mistake, allowing Julia Hart to drop Jamie Hayter and sends her out of the ring. Back in the ring, the Kala goes after the champ with a spear before posting over her. Alright, backstage we hear from Willow Nightingale, who addresses someone she feels need to be punched in the face. Maria Shafir. She wants to fight Maria Shafir, but before Harley Cameron cuts in to sing Willow Nightingale a song about coming to terms with Chris Statlander. Willow Nightingale says she's been down this road before with Chris Statlander and thinks we know who really friends with. She tells Harley Cameron to watch her back before walking away. When Apex Web finishes the song with Harley Cameron as we go to commercial break. So yeah, we go to commercial break. Commentary runs down the lineup for Collision, the final show in the Philly Residency before looking ahead to a tournament of three-way match at All Out for the AEW Unified Championship. Matches at Collision and next week's September to Remember, who find out will move on towards that goal. Back at ringside, the Young Bucks come out to the screens and graphics showing their real names, and their music this week is the first ever Dynamite theme as they headed to the ring for our main event of the evening. Out next are the Death Riders. We get confirmation of the coffin match at All Out between Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. The Ops make their entrance next, followed by Bandito before this match gets underway. So we get the 500K match, the 500K 10-man tag team match. Bandito and the Ops versus Death Riders and the Young Bucks. And this main event match right here, this main event match was okay for what it was, but I'm just gonna say it was, it was just okay. You know what I'm saying? The main event match was just okay for what it was. We start off with Nick Jackson and Bandito, with Nick Jackson getting a one count twice over before taking Bandito down with a arm drag. Nick Jackson continues to outlaw with near fall after near fall, blocking a sunset flip and getting an assist before the referee noticed the help. Things break down as Brody King makes a tag, landing some hard shots before tagging in Bandito back in. A quick dance break leads to Nick Jackson getting out of the way for a tag to Yuta. Just as Samoa Joe gets a tag of his own, Samoa Joe lays in some kicks on Wheeler Yuta before locking in a toe hold, but Wheeler Yuta makes it to the ropes before the break. Samoa Joe brings Wheeler Yuta to the corner for some jabs and a tag to Shibata, who lays in some heavy strikes before Wheeler Yuta fights back enough for a tag to Claudio Cascanoli. Lays into the wrestler but gets caught in the corner, allowing Shibata to land a running dropkick sleeper hold exchange in as chaos ensues in the ring. This culminates the Young Bucks getting rally on the outside with a dive by Brody King, who brings them back into the ring before Powerhouse House to lay in some damage. Shibata goes after Claudio Cascanoli some more before tagging in Bandito, who lands a dive on the outside before going up top for a fall splash. That gives the Ring of Honor World Champion a near fall on Claudio Cascanoli as we go to commercial break on HBO Max. So we go to full AD commercial break on HBO Max. Back in the ring, Nick Jackson and Bandito are the legal men as the Death Riders and Matt Jackson keep the rest of Bandito's team away. Matt Jackson with a Northern Light suplex followed by a standing sliced bread, and a kick from Nick Jackson gets him a near fall. Bandito managed to fight back enough to tag in Powerhouse Hobbs, who with the Powerhouse running ramped on Claudio Cascanoli on Jon Moxley when they approaches. Meat chant as Powerhouse Hobbs charges at each other, man in the corner before dropping them to the canvas. Maria Shafir tries to intervene, allowing Wheeler Yuta to land a chair shot, but it barely fades as Powerhouse Hobbs, who sends Wheeler Yuta out of the ring before continuing the attack on Claudio Cascanoli. The Young Bucks get involved after Matt Jackson gets a tag, only to get squashed in the corner by Powerhouse House before Brody King gets a tag for a cannonball on Matt Jackson for a 2 count. Chaos ensues, one more landing to a giant swing by Claudio Cascanoli and a Paragon shift on Brody King by Jon Moxley. Bandito fights back against the Young Bucks, but they stop a 21 plex attempt. Monkey Flip gets blocked, and Nick Jackson gives Matt Jackson some leverage as they pin Bandito for the win. The winner by pinfall, the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. This match right here, this was I'm not supposed to say this was a fun match. What it was. They rush away from the ring to grab the prize money, enjoying it for just a moment before Brody King and Bandito go after them. That fight heads to the back as the Death Riders focus on the attacking Powerhouse Hobbs until Darby Allin comes running down for the save. The Ops pull everyone but Jon Moxley out of the ring, leaving the former world champion with Darby Allin before someone in the hoodie runs in to blindside the former TNT champion and it's Daniel Garcia. The crowd boos before telling Daniel Garcia he sold out, all while Maria Shafir comes to the ring with a steel chair. Daniel Garcia sets Darby Allin up for a curb stomp, except that Darby Allin's face completely missed in the chair. The crowd gives out about the gaff, a mistake that Daniel Garcia makes up for by setting Darby Allin up for another curb stomp, landing the face flush with a steel chair. Daniel Garcia and the Death Riders eventually make their escape, leaving Darby Allin lying in the ring as AEW Dynamite comes to a close. So let me read you guys the quick results before I get my opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. So we get the grudge match now title. AEW World Champion Hangman Page defeated Josh Alexander. Then we get Alex Windsor and Rio defeated TBS champion Mercedes Moné and Amy Sakura. So Ricochet defeated Shelton Benjamin, which that match was decent. And Philly Street Fight non-title AEW Women's World Champion Thomas Tony Storm defeated Scott Blue. That was a good match. And 500K 10-man tag, Death Riders and the Young Bucks defeated Bandito and the Ops. And that match was okay that match was fun for what it was. And AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Alright, so AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Now let me get my opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. And AEW Dynamite was a decent show for what it was. And so that's all I gotta say. So anyway, if you guys enjoy my AEW Dynamite review on highlights, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end so I can get some more watch time hours. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel. Follow my social media down below in the description. And go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights. And go check out my WWE Raw review on highlights. But I did not know that Daniel Garcia was going to turn heel and join the Death Riders. I did not know that, but I do now. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. Remember to full watch the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. That way I can get the watch hours I deserve, man. I want to become YouTube partner for the very first time. So bad, man. So help your boy out, man. Make sure you guys share all my watch my videos and share all my videos with your friends and family. That way I can get the watch time hours that I deserve, man. That's all I gotta say. Have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. And thank you guys so much for coming out to my yesterday's live stream on Twitch for some WWE NXT watch along live and reactions. I had a good time live on Twitch, man, and I appreciate Treasure for dropping 5 biddies in my chat, man. So that's all I gotta say, man. Well, that's all I gotta say. I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. And shout out to Serene, man, and Tivichu for doing a good job on their live stream yesterday. I had fun watching Serene's live stream while she was playing Resident Evil Village. And then I had a good time at Tivichu's live stream while she was playing that water park simulator. And that's all I gotta say. But shout out to Showstopper TV once again for a amazing stream that he did live on Twitch, man. I had a good time, man. He did a 5-hour stream, man, and that's all I gotta say from here. So shout out to that brother Showstopper TV, man. And that's all I gotta say. Shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight for my AEW Dynamite review highlights. And that's all I gotta say. But I am going to have an upcoming world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review and highlights at 5 o'clock a.m. So make sure you guys join in on all the fun in my chat, and that's all I gotta say. Have a great night. Stay safe and always stay too sweet. And I'm out of here. Gang.